What's going on, guys? It's Sam with Sam's Man Tree Service, and we're on Tree Youngin, episode 5, I believe. I always get them confused. So, as you can see, this is a storm work, obvious. I don't know if that's obvious, but this is storm work. It was raining all day on this day. These are my first tree jobs for myself that didn't require climbing. My first episode was climbing, but I found these as well. These are off my Instagram. So I got a call from a friend. I didn't live in this city at this time, and he said, "Hey man, the winds are really." Yeah, I lived here, but I moved back for some family stuff, and they said, "Hey man, the winds are really crazy. You should come out here and do some tree work." I'm only living 20, 30 minutes away, so I came on out there, brought my trailer, got my chainsaw in the truck, and this was my first job. We did this little cleanup, $275. I was there for three hours in the rain. No chaps, no helmet, no nothing. I didn't know at this time. This was just me with a chainsaw. That's my 250. I love that truck. That's my trailer as well. No floor, no nothing. The wires are all hanging up on over. I didn't know what was right, what was wrong. As you could tell, this is all me self-made, figuring it out. I didn't have anyone teach me anything about mechanics. I didn't have anyone who taught me anything about wiring or whatnot. I just kind of Googled it, obviously. So this is a $50 load job, a little blown over, what do you call it, Bradford pear, Cleveland pear, something like that. And I was so busy, and I did a few jobs for the neighbors, and I always saw these guys on YouTube talking about, oh, I'm booked up, booked up, booked up. And I was like, how the hell are you guys booked up? And I remember Keith Kelfis, he's like, I did $1,000 a day, and once you start doing your $1,000 days, you're like, oh my God, you think it's amazing. This is my first $1,000 day. I was at like $1,300, and I was amazed. I was like, holy crap. Like, I started a tree service. I thought it was like some hot shit. And it's funny because $1,000 a day, oh my gosh, if a tree service did that now, they'd be broke in sales, So this is what my front yard looked like when I moved back. I had a 79 250. That was my first one. That thing was sweet. Paid $500 for it, guys. I didn't like the truck cap on my 250, and although now I wish I still had that truck cap because now it's just kind of like my personal truck. I'm gonna get back though. I know who has it, and I'm gonna buy it back. That's how my yard looked. Obviously, I was looked at as like the redneck in my town. Not my town, but my neighbors. And it's kind of a shame that people judge people based off looks and stuff because they didn't realize I was just some broke kid, whatever. We did landscaping out of here. My red truck did my first landscaping job. $350, 6 yards of mulch installed. I lost my ass. I was there for 3 days, and it sucked. But the guy gave me a lot of credit for still doing it. It looked like shit, though. I'm not going to lie. I was never careful. I just thought, hey, mulch on the ground? Yeah, let's throw it down. And, I did the best to my knowledge, but that's why I like tree work because it's a perfect balance. Landscaping was never a good balance for me. So next picture is was my first climbing. My first piece of rigging gear was a notch ring on a ultra sling. Is that the ultra sling? Yeah. And this is by the time when I kind of figured out how to climb. I was pretty comfortable with climbing and popping tops and rigging. I was a little bit newer too, but I obviously bought my first piece of rigging gear, so at this point if you look at my arm, I have crap tons of poison ivy all over. But the rigging ring, I paid like $120 for. Did it on this ash tree job. Worked all right. It wasn't the smoothest. There was some nervous moments when rigging, but there was just one big one over the house, and we had to tip tie it. And when we tip tied it, I didn't understand tip tying too much, and the rope went down a little bit more than I thought. No big deal. All it did was that branch went into the ground, which was fine. We were on the grass. We didn't hit the house or anything, so I was really happy about that. It was a calculated risk, and I just overlooked the branch actually coming to the ground. So it was a big sucker. I mean, I cut it from the ground, tip tied it up top, came down. So I was kind of getting my feet, into it. I was learning, I was at the point where I can climb, I could get up there. Now what? Now what's the smart move? So here was one of the jobs where it kind of clicked. I have the dump trailer at this point. I charged her like $350. She was super happy with the price. I was there for a few hours by myself because I didn't realize how much brush it was. I really should have rented a chipper, or borrowed a chipper, or had someone just come out with a chipper, because that would have been pretty easy. But this is where I was learning, and I was starting to be able to go out on my own and tackle smaller tree jobs. And what we did was we were dropping these. I dropped, and these are kind of tall actually. They're about 25, 30 footers at the most. And we were dropping these. I dropped these by myself and did this job by myself, and it kind of clicked finally, like with the hinges. I remember it took me a while to learn saw control, and my ground guy now has taken him a while as well. And it's something that after you do it for so long, it just kind of clicks. And just making the nice face cut and lining up your back cut and dropping the tree where you want. On this job, I remember placing monster or water bottles or something, I remember, and trying to hit them with the logs as I was dropping. And it worked well. And I was learning how to kind of manipulate the trees at this point. This job was pretty good. I like doing this one. And then we have what it looks like when it's all cleaned up. But at this point in my tree climbing life and career and stage, I am learning. I'm kind of getting into a little bit of a rhythm with it. And I was doing a little bit more side jobs. And honestly, guys, the best money I've ever made was off these little stupid side jobs. When my insurance was super cheap, I didn't have payroll, I didn't have workers' comp. This was the best thing I can do. And I have a lot of people ask me advice. I'm never a Debbie Downer or a negative person, but there's guys who are like, I want to get a big company. I want to be like you. I'm not a big company, but people are like, I want to be like you. I'm like, I get that, and it's all fun, but do you? I'm like, you make $1,000 a week doing side jobs plus your main job. I'm like, that's pretty good money considering. I'm like, and I tell them in the front, I'm like, man, if I made $1,000 a week, I would have to find another job. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, this stuff's expensive. So at this point, oh, my saw is purple too. My whole company's purple. But anyway, I'm super proud about this little job, and this is when it kind of started coming together. Thank you guys for watching. There's much more to come of this series. Thank you. Peace out.